It all started on a rainy afternoon at JFK International Airport, where Alexander Quinn, a self-made tech millionaire, paced impatiently by the baggage carousel. Dressed in a sleek tailored suit, AirPods in his ears, and eyes fixed on his phone, he barely noticed the world around him. Deals, deadlines, and data, his life ran like an algorithm. Emotions? Those were for movies. He had long stopped believing in anything he couldn't predict or profit from. When his black Samsonite finally rolled onto the carousel, Alex snatched it without a second glance. He hurried out, sliding into the back of a sleek black Escalade waiting outside. It wasn't until he got to his Manhattan penthouse that he noticed something strange. The suitcase seemed lighter. Popping it open, he froze. Inside wasn't the array of designer clothes and neatly folded button-downs he expected. Instead, there was a worn-out stuffed bunny, a stack of children's drawings, and a plastic folder labeled, Emergency Medical Docs, Maria Elena Torres, age 6. Confused, Alex reached into the folder. Hospital bills, letters from doctors, and a handwritten note on floral stationery stopped him cold. To whoever finds this, if you are reading these papers, please pray for my daughter. She's everything I have. We're flying to New York for one last shot. If you know a miracle, please send one our way. Alex swallowed hard. For the first time in years, something pierced his carefully built emotional armor. This wasn't just a lost suitcase. This was someone's lifeline. A part of him wanted to call the airline and have them handle it, return to his life of polished meetings and polite indifference. But something deeper held him back. He reread the letter, lingered on the word miracle. He couldn't explain it, but that night, Alex didn't sleep. The next morning, he called the airline. The mix-up had already been reported. The real owner of the suitcase, a woman named Lucia Torres, was at a motel in Queens, desperately trying to locate her lost luggage. Without telling anyone why, Alex instructed his driver to take him there. The area was far from his usual route, no glossy buildings or private elevators here. The motel looked tired, like it had carried too many people's sorrow. He knocked on the door of room 204. A weary woman in her early 30s opened it. Her eyes, dark, hollowed by worry, widened when she saw the suitcase in his hands. "You have it," she whispered, as if the suitcase held not clothes, but hope. Inside the room, a little girl with a pale face and wide eyes lay curled under a hospital blanket. The bunny was missing from her side. "Bunny," she gasped, spotting it sticking out of the case. Lucia hurried to pull it free and placed it into her daughter's arms. The girl smiled, a faint, exhausted smile that still radiated warmth. Sorry," Alex stammered. "I took the wrong bag. I didn't know." Lucia's voice trembled. "It's okay. Thank you for bringing it back." He should have left then. But something stopped him again. "What's wrong with her?" he asked quietly. Lucia hesitated. "Maria has a rare heart condition. We came from Texas. She's scheduled for a procedure at NYU tomorrow. It's risky, and expensive. We've sold almost everything. But it's our only shot." Alex didn't know what to say. He'd spent more on a watch than some families lived on in a year. Yet here stood a mother who had given up everything for the faintest chance of saving her daughter. That night, Alex stayed up researching the condition. The more he read, the more disturbed he became, not just by the disease, but by how the system worked. The next day, he was waiting outside the hospital when Lucia arrived, shocked to see him again. "I want to help," he said, simply. Lucia looked at him, puzzled. "Why?" "I don't know," he admitted. "But I can. And maybe that's reason enough." In the weeks that followed, Alex funded the surgery, stayed in touch, even visited Maria in recovery. The doctors said the surgery was a success. Maria's color returned. She giggled again. Lucia broke down in tears when they told her she owed nothing. Alex covered it all, quietly, anonymously. But that wasn't the end. Something had shifted in Alex. What began as an accident turned into awakening. He couldn't go back to who he was before. He started a foundation in Maria's name, the Little Heart Project, funding treatments for children with rare conditions. The millionaire who once measured life in numbers began measuring it in names, faces, and second chances. A year later, he stood on a stage at a hospital fundraiser, not as a billionaire, but as a man changed by a child he'd never meant to meet. "They say I grabbed the wrong suitcase," he told the crowd. "But maybe it was exactly the one I was meant to carry. Because inside, I didn't just find a little girl's drawings or a stuffed bunny, I found my own humanity."